Hi viewers, welcome to another video from @Newsworthy Publications. My name is Ben Gray. I'm an amateur journalist living in Bristol, trying to clear my name and expose corruption within the judiciary in Bristol and the High Court and within the police and the local CPS generally. Now, this is a fairly short video in connection with the other videos I've already uploaded onto my YouTube channel, such as Judge Martin Picton Must Fall, Judge Michael Longman, Evil Incarnate, Barbarians at the Gate, and so forth. These videos detail with conclusive evidence, including in particular film evidence, proving the extent to which I'm being tortured, kidnapped, victim of the most outrageous perjured allegations it is possible to imagine, and sexually assaulted, you name it. I've been the victim of it, attempted murder, all of it under the watchful gaze and with the encouragement of the judges I've mentioned, such as Judge Michael Longman, Judge Martin Picton, Judge Peter Blair Casey. And obviously, there's no point in my rehashing those allegations or the evidence. They're there on the videos for all to see. This is a fairly short video that just deals with my attempts to get my local MP to look into these matters or have any concerns about them. And bearing in mind they are ongoing issues, they're not issues that I'm just trying to clear my name in respect to previous cases because I'm still being subject to these abuses. I'm just trying to clear my name with these abuses that, as I say, are still ongoing. I'm still being regularly kidnapped by the police and subject to outrageously illegal proceedings in the court. I am at present, indeed, subject to such proceedings. And of course, unless I can get representation, my only other recourse is to go to my local MP. And in my case, because I'm from North East, or what is now the North East constituency, that is Mr. Damien Egan. I will just read out the email communications I've had with Mr. Egan in my attempts to get his involvement. And obviously, I'll prove from his complete stonewalling of my attempts to contact him and speak to him and provide evidence, importantly, to my allegations, have just been completely ignored. He's just simply he doesn't care. He's basically saying he's as corrupt and as evil as the judges and CPS officers, CPS representatives, barristers, and police officers and civilians I'm complaining about. So without further ado, I'll read out the communications so far with Mr. Egan to validate my campaign against him and proving to the extent to which he's just another corrupt, child abusing, evil so and so. So this is an email I wrote to Mr. Egan on the 24th of July 2024, and it's now we're now towards the end of March 25. I think it's 23rd of March. This is now nearly a year ago, sort of 9 months ago, anyway. And as I say, this is the response so far, and the communications we've had to date. So under the heading, and obviously I'll put the email up on the screen as I'm reading. Title: Re-evidence of judicial collusion in torture, child abuse, sexual assault, kidnapping, corruption. I should have put etc. because there's a lot more besides, but that should get his interest if he's any kind of a politician who cares about the interests of his constituency or the public justice system generally. And as I say, this was dated the 24th of July, and my email goes as follows. Dear Mr. Egan, I understand you are now the MP for my area, 6 Boswell Street, Bristol, BS5 6SG, having taken over from Kerry McCarthy MP due to the constituency boundaries. I had been seeking help from Ms McCarthy for many years, re judicial collusion in the sort of allegations set out above: torture, sexual assault, perverting justice, kidnapping, etc., close brackets, carried out by local police officers and Bristol CPS, etc. She refused to help, most recently accusing me of threatening her, in quotation marks, in an email to myself, which she then refused to substantiate with any evidence. In other words, Miss McCarthy was clearly herself colluding in the offences complained of. Given you have now taken over from Miss McCarthy as my MP, I naturally am seeking your position and help in respect to my complaints. I refer you to a link to my YouTube expose channel at Newsworthy Publications, which provides irrefutable video and documentary evidence proving my allegations. And then I provide the link, and within the link is the brief summary of what the videos are about, and this is just the I think it was just the mission statement. I'm not entirely, I can't remember now. And obviously, you'll have a link in the description below to um, my most recent video. And then, of course, you can go on to any other videos that you're interested in. But my most recent video is Judge Longman, Evil Incarnate. Um, and obviously, the blurb or the information provided in the box, which I don't need to read out because you can see it there. You can go to the link yourself. But obviously, it's making the same allegations that I've just made, effectively at the beginning of the letter. I would respectfully, so I conclude the letter. I respectfully invite you to view my video documentaries to form your own independent position on the veracity of my accusations, and contact me in respect to assisting me and the general public in addressing these outrages. I look forward to hearing from you, therefore, yours sincerely, Ben Gray. So it started off positively in terms of the response that I got from Mr. Egan's secretary or assistant, whatever they're called, but a Ross Elliott, caseworker, I think it's a he or a she, it doesn't even say, so I'm assuming it's a he, because Ross is more commonly a male name, although it could, of course, be a female. And there's no way of identifying who he or she is because I've looked online to see if there's any kind of trace of who Ross Elliott is, or indeed what gender she or he goes under. There's a case reference, so that's a great start, isn't it? DE 609, and then the communication goes as follows. And as this is on the same day, I think, as the email was sent. Dear Mr. Benjamin Gray, thank you for your email to Damien Egan MP regarding your YouTube documentaries. Please can you outline what assistance you would like Damien to provide so that he can respond you fully? I suppose that's to you fully, but never mind. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, a Ross Elliott caseworker. So that's a bit confusing because I explained that I've got evidence of child abuse, of torture, of perverting justice, general corruption. And obviously, I'm complaining that I can't get assistance by representation, and obviously these are major public justice concerns because the constituent. I'm complaining to Ross, well, to Ross Elliott and to Damien Egan that I'm the victim of these kind of atrocious outrages at the hands of the police and the judiciary. And of course, the only person with enough power to step in and assist my cause, and of course the cause of the general public, because if they can do it to me, ladies and gentlemen, they can do it to you and people you care about. So obviously there's a public justice issue at stake. And so obviously the first port of call would be for Mr. Egan to view the footage, get some idea of what my allegations are and what evidence I have to support them, and then he can decide what help I may need or he may be prepared to offer. But it's self-explanatory within the initial letter and the video link as to what issues I'm seeking from Mr. Egan. But in any event, because there was some confusion apparently, or claimed to be, from Ross Elliott, I wrote back on the same day again, although uh, confusingly it's dated the 11th of August. So let's say it was the 11th of August. I thought I would have responded straight away. So I'm a little bit confused about the dating on my Hotmail account, but it's not important. The important point is that I've got a response from Damien Egan, effectively, and here's my response to their response. Dear Mr. Elliott, you wrote to me on the 24th of July 24 asking what assistance I was seeking from my MP. Read my complaints. I am being persecuted, i.e., tortured, kidnapped, subject to perverting justice, perjury, close brackets, etc., by orders of the local and High Court judiciary. I referred Mr. Egan to the video docs on my YouTube channel at Newsworthy Publications and clarified how Mr. Egan could help me and the public at large but return email of the same date. I received an automated acknowledgement, but nothing further, despite it being more than 2 weeks since my further email. I am going to, so this is, I assume this was the 11th of August. I think that's the correct date. Let me just double check. Yes, so this the 11th of August. Then I sent this email. I'm going. So slight grammatical error there. I'm hoping I will not be completely stonewalled by my concerns by Mr. Egan, just as the corrupt, conniving, and lying Kerry McCarthy MP did when she was my MP, but feel by now I should have received some confirmation that Mr. Egan would at least glance at one or two of my documentaries in due course, if only to assure himself there is no substance to my allegations, and act, if there is some evidence, to support them. I understand Mr. Egan is a very busy and important man, but it would take only a few minutes to scroll through my documentaries to get a gist of their content, and certainly to email me to at least indicate he will do so when he has said free few minutes. In order to draw a line under this matter, therefore, I will assume Mr. Egan is simply Miss McCarthy Mark II and is not going to engage with my concerns, regardless or especially if I have evidence to support them. I have not heard, if I have not heard from him or your office by the 21st of August 24, which is more than 21 days protocol usually applied to correspondence of this nature. If I have nothing from Mr. Egan by the above date, I will be entitled to assume he too is in cahoots with the persecution and misconduct offences I referred to above and publish those allegations accordingly. Yours sincerely, Ben Gray. Well, I've erred on the side of caution, if you like, and not um, gone online with what I'm now doing with and made good my threat to accuse Mr. Egan of colluding in the offences of the egregious abuse of office that I'm complaining about with the judges and the CPS and the police and civilians in Bristol and London. So I think now I can almost definitely say, or not even almost, I can definitely say that Mr. Egan is Kerry McCarthy part two or Mark two. He's just another version of that same corrupt, evil, lying so and so, Miss McCarthy, who I had been attempting over years because these incidents go back as my documentaries. Well, some of my documentaries will at least go back at least to 2008, 7, 8 kind of period. But there's even some that got issues that go back to 2005 that I'm not even able to publish. But well, I can, but I would be in breach of certain restraining orders if I was to do so. But we can, there's a good 15 years there of attempting to get Miss McCarthy's involvement, and she's just completely. She initially responded to a couple of issues with some information. For instance, I said, how could I get a criminal investigation into judges? And she said that would have to be via the police. She confirmed that via the Home Office. So I got some letter from her, way back in 2008 or something. Then I attempted to contact her with the ongoing issues, the endless arrests, the 40 or so arrests without conviction that I've been subjected to, the endless injuries and tortures that I've got video proving that I'm the victim of. And of course, so we've got to the point where obviously Miss McCarthy might as well be making the orders for me to be tortured in the same way that that some tyrannical politician in a South American country in the 70s, or a Middle Eastern country uh, today would be doing. There's no difference between a constituent that is trying and drawing attention to evidence that they are being victimized in the most horrendous way possible by corrupt judges who are themselves effectively giving orders to the police to carry out these abuses. Of course, we've now got the what I call the general civil restraint orders and the civil proceedings orders that have been put in place by Lord Justice Warby, Mark Warby, and Lord Justice William Davis. and that's canvassed in my other videos. And these are preventing me from litigating on any matter. So that, of course, is to say to the police, go ahead, do what you like to Mr. Gray. He can't fight back. If you want to sexually assault him, go ahead and be my guest. If you want to kidnap him, if you want to concoct evidence or prosecute him on concocted evidence, go ahead. It's entirely, because we're already colluding in dozens and dozens of previous other incidents of that nature. Two CS sprayings that I've involved in, at least two strangulations or three strangulations, but two of them carried out actually on video. You name it, the judges will collude in it. And of course, the only port of call, as I say, is the democratic oversight of politicians. And as I say, Miss McCarthy just completely stonewalled me for many years. And our most recent communication, I'll see if I can dig it up for the purposes of this video. But the last, in fact, I probably almost certainly will be able to, where she says that I threatened her. Without any evidence that I had done so. So she basically, this is the port of call of a lot of these corrupt um, uh, police or civilians or individuals is to they become the victim. If I'm complaining that I've actually got evidence that I'm being strangled, so it's not a question of threats happening to me. I'm actually the victim of major violent misconduct. And life-threatening misconduct. When you'll see a sprayed in the face, you can easily have some sort of breathing difficulty problem, or when you're strangled. Obviously, I don't need to explain the risks to my physical health from doing that. And these are just tips of the iceberg in terms of all the injuries and violence I'm being made the victim of. And yet, if I complain to a politician, and I say, well, you're doing nothing about it, and I may suggest that I'm going to harass them, or I'm going to. I don't think I did that with Ms. McCarthy, but obviously, what am I supposed to do if I'm being the victim of these kind of horrendous outrages that are clearly life-threatening? Then the only port of call is to expect either a lawyer to help me, or if not, a politician, my local MP, who was supposed to protect the rights of constituents. But certainly in the case of Ms. McCarthy, I didn't make any suggestion that I was going to do her any harm, which is obviously the meaning of a threat. So she simply fabricated, and which, of course, my whole complaint is that all the abuse that I'm suffering at the hands of the police originate from complaints that I have somehow threatened or done some fabricated some allegation against me to justify me being detained, either fabricated by the police themselves or civilians. So the irony is that of course, is come full circle, and that the person I'm complaining to about being made victim of false allegations are themselves making false allegations against me, as Miss McCarthy did. But obviously, I had a slight glimmer of hope when the constituency boundaries were changed, and Mr. Egan became my MP. And I've contacted him, as I say, nearly a year ago, a good 9 months ago, politely, as you can see from my first emails, pointing out here's evidence of my allegations. My attempts to get your predecessor, Miss McCarthy, to help have come to naught. Can you help me? Are you prepared to look at the evidence to support my allegations, and then take things from there? First of all, we get this effectively harassing letter from Ross Elliott, pretending that she doesn't know what I want. What am I seeking? Just some mention. She makes it clear, or he makes it clear. I'm not, as I say, I'm not sure which it is, so I can use both effectively. It's he or she is accepting that I've referred them to video. So we've got some headway, and at least there's some acknowledgement of what I'm seeking to happen, which is for my videos to be viewed. But of course, that's completely meaningless if they then there's no there's no we note from your allegations of torture, of of judicial collusion in torture, or judicial collusion in kidnapping, and so on and so forth, child abuse. Well, there's no mention of that allegation within the response. Just simply, I'm referring to videos as though here's some videos of myself being treated a bit rudely by a civil servant or something. That is the extent. And how wicked and sinister is that? because of course it's a major criminal offence to make serious criminal allegations, and I made it my life's mission. If you go to my mission statement or any other of my documentaries, is to try and get a criminal investigation, therefore get these people arrested, get these people interviewed, get these people prosecuted. So if they're false allegations, and I'm already committing a serious offence of perverting public justice by making false allegations. And of course, since I've written to Mr. Egan, I've researched the matter further, and we have now the common law authorities of Llewellyn Jones, R.V. Llewellyn Jones, and R.V. Bembridge. These are case law authorities that indicate where judges in the UK have been prosecuted successfully for misconduct in public office. So, and there's no doubt, question, of course, that judges can be held accountable for before the criminal law in the same way civilians can, or police officers can, or lawyers can for misconduct in public office. Of course, the issue is how does one get an investigation? If one is a civilian and cannot get representation, then of course, again, the only port of call must be through the MP system. And of course, we know to almost to conclude this documentary is that when, for instance, the riots in August occurred, and there were, or the demonstrations or protests or whatever you want to call them, we had the Prime Minister of the day, Keir Starmer, who is still the Prime Minister as I speak, stating that all these people are going to be banged up, they're not going to be given bail, and then they're going to get stiff sentences. So we can see the extent to which, when it's convenient to the particular politicians of the day, that they then become the judiciary. They then treat the judiciary as their private personal puppets, and say what sentences and what bail decisions are going to be made in respect to people that have not, in some cases, haven't even been formally charged, or certainly before the proceedings have even commenced properly. So when it's convenient, we can see the extent to which the judiciary are at the beck and call of politicians. And in some senses, that's as it should be, because it's the politicians that are voted and elected. It's not the judges. Judges, God knows how they get into power, from being barristers or lawyers or solicitors in some cases, to being fully fledged judges on 180,000 a year. And of course, we know in America, in most states or many states, they judges themselves have to face the public in terms of democratic accountability. Of course, but they are supposed to be to some extent distinct, even in America, in terms of actual ongoing proceedings. But that went by the book, by the board. And of course, the difference between what happened in August and with Keir Starmer is that those were proceedings that were ongoing. Those are matters in which I think it's all agreed that by and large politicians shouldn't be directly involved with, but they were in August last year. But in these are matters that have effectively been done and dusted, and just as you can get MPs who will fight for somebody to get an appeal against a conviction that they think uh, is completely unjust. We know of the Lucy Letby, that there are politicians that are, I think it's David Davis in particular, that is campaigning to have a further review or a further appeal in terms of evidence that she's not guilty of those offences. So once a case has actually been settled in terms of theoretically settled in terms of final appeals and so forth, that is when you should be able to get MPs to step in. And of course, all these matters aren't ongoing. They're matters that I'm seeking help with. And I can now say, can I not, ladies and gentlemen, people that are viewing this video, that here is the evidence, all the evidence you need, that Damien Egan is a corrupt, child abusing, kidnapping, lying, villainous, wicked person, MP, whatever you want to call him in terms of his status. But he is, he's got the evidence provided to him on video format, which he can't even be bothered to look at that to verify or to ensure that Mr. Gray is just making things up, which of course would be an offence in and of itself. Um, uh, and but uh, not even to acknowledge what my allegations are, to invite me as to clarify what it is that I'm seeking Mr. Egan to do, even though it was quite obvious from the first email, which is what I was seeking for him to do. But having clarified in response to that email, that's it. Everything is just completely is stonewall from there on in.